Hey friends, my name is Ravi and welcome to the It's Not That Serious podcast. Learn and grow with me on my journey of self-love and betterment. I'll take my experiences and topics to inspire growth, change, and overall self-satisfaction. Hello! I am so fucking excited to record this episode. 2023 has been a wild ride. I've done a lot of things, I've experienced a lot of things, I've learned, I've grown in several ways that I never would have expected. I've met a lot of people along the way. I could not be more grateful. And all of this just stored in my memory book, in my brain. That being said, obviously 2023 is coming to an end. I was originally going to do 23 things I've learned this year, but I had a lot in mind that I wanted to talk about, so I ended up adding 2 more things to my list, making it 25 things I've learned this year. And I definitely want to share that all with y'all and put it in this podcast episode. Yeah, it's going to be short. It's just an accumulation of all the things I've learned this year, 2023. Number 1, communication is key. You need to be able to express what you're thinking and what you're feeling and not be scared to express your boundaries. Make that known to the other person. If you are feeling a certain way, if you are thinking a certain way, if something they're doing is bothering you, then you need to be able to communicate that because they can't feel, they can't know or think what you're thinking because it's in your head. So the only way that someone else is able to know is if you communicate. But also the second part to that is comprehension is what really unlocks the door. So it's like communication is the key, but comprehension is like the bolt that communication unlocks. So you need both ends of it, So if you're communicating, but the person's not comprehending, then the communication is not as useful. But as long as you're trying, as long as you're communicating, then you're doing your part. You're doing the part that you can control. Because you can never control what the other person is doing, but you can control yourself, what you do, and that is the communication. Number 2, if your body is not screaming yes, if it's not a definite yes, then that's automatically a no. I've spent so much of this year questioning and being really indecisive and being unsure of my intentions, my thoughts of certain things, or what it is that I really want. And when it comes to hanging out with people or doing certain things, I felt my body resist and I would still do whatever it was that I was resisting and then end up finding out in the end, like, I should have just, not done that. But I've learned from those types of experiences that my body was telling me no. So if you're ever like, should I not? Then it's a no. And that's if it's like, for me in this case, in these scenarios of this year, it was getting into relationships that I didn't want to be in. I was always like, should I be with this person? Should I not? And I doubted myself. I gave myself a lot of anxiety because of that. And in the end, I've come to the conclusion that my body was not screaming a definite yes. It was a no. You can just trust yourself, Number 3, without rain, there's no sun. What comes up will always come down. The days where you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel are the days where you're at your lowest point. But when you know you're at your lowest point, you can only go up from there. Things can only get better from that point. And from being in those rainy days, those sad, depressing days, it makes you appreciate the good days even more. And during those good days, you can also learn to appreciate the bad days because without feeling the highs and the lows, then you're not able to appreciate the opposite of that. Life would be really boring if you were always high or always low. That would be the threshold. And then it would be the baseline. It would be really boring. So you do learn to appreciate feeling the happiness and the sadness. You always win some, you always lose some, and the rain will always pass. Trust in the universe's timing. Things will always work out the way they're supposed to. I've noticed that the people I've met this year, long-term and short-term, I've always met them at the time I was supposed to meet them. Or if it was just someone coming back from my past. And I'm not talking about like toxic people, just like people I haven't talked to in forever. They always came in at the point where I needed them. And that being said, people come and go into your life. So they'll also go when they're no longer needed in your life. When they leave, it's because they've served their purpose in helping you or guiding you to where you need to be once they teach you that lesson. And sometimes those could be messy. It's not always like we just drifted apart, we grew apart. It's more like sometimes if it was like a nasty breakup or drama, it's a blessing in disguise. It works out in the end and you see it pieced together. I like to call all these tiny little like stepping stones puzzle pieces to the bigger picture. I've also always found songs at the time I needed to hear those songs. I would have a situation in my life and shortly after maybe TikTok or Instagram or one of my friends are like, check out the song, and it perfectly describes the situation. So I'm just like, this isn't a coincidence if this is always happening, you know? Number 5, stand your ground. Nobody is going to do it for you. You need to be firm with yourself and you need to have your own boundaries. Lock that in with yourself and watch how other people will not step on those boundaries you've created for yourself, because once you have that respect for yourself, people will respect you. Do what is right to you. Project your voice. Stand your ground. Be confident in yourself and stick to the choices and decisions you decide to make. And if sticking up for yourself and standing your ground also means cutting off certain people from your life, then so be it. If they're draining your energy, if they're not benefiting you, if they're causing drama or pain or more stress, anxiety, all the negative emotions, cut that shit out. That kind of goes hand in hand with my next one. You are always your priority. Don't put anyone else in front of you. Don't ever feel bad for protecting your peace and reserving your energy. Number 7, it's okay to be unsure. You can change your mind as many times as you want, as many times as you need. We're human. Our minds are always changing. If we stuck with one thing the whole entire time, if we only liked one thing our whole entire life and that never fluctuated, and if we didn't find new passions and hobbies, that wouldn't be human. And with you being unsure, you eventually will find an option. You eventually will find your choice, your truth. It's always one step at a time. Number 8, always live in a state of abundance. Feel and believe that you have everything and anything that you need and want. The more you believe that and feel that, you will send out that energy into the universe and attract more of what it is that you want. You'll be able to attract more of this rather than if you live in a state of scarcity. And thinking about how envious you are of somebody else or what somebody has or what somebody's like, that just is you confirming to yourself that you are undeserving of what it is they have or are like. You're literally telling yourself you don't have that capability or you don't have those means. You literally do have everything that you do need to get by. And being grateful for the things that you do have allows more for it to flow into your life. The universe will keep rewarding you with those things. Number 9, life is short. Book that flight. Use your PTO, use your sick days, call your friends, call your family, tell them you love them, tell them you appreciate them. Spend time with the people that you love. Spend time with the people that make you happy. Do the things that make you happy. Get that tattoo. I stopped using, I have no money, I have no time. I stopped using those excuses and I just started doing it. I started using that fuck it, we ball mentality and just going out and doing it. Money will come and go. The money's not going to come with me to the grave, but these memories will. So I'm like, why am I saving up that much money? I'm not gonna be able to buy a house anytime soon, so let me just use it on something fun right now. Number 10, try new things. You can surprise yourself with skills and talents you didn't even know you had. You're probably good and talented in a lot more things than you actually think you are. We all have an inner child or an inner artist within us that we just have to unleash. It's just hidden in our little shadows. Somebody's lack of knowledge in how to treat you or respect you is not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to teach them how to treat you, how to respect you. And it especially is not your responsibility to stick around, especially if it's hurting you and draining you more than lifting you up and helping you. Number 12, it never hurts to try. You always gain something out of the experience, skills, knowledge, experience. You'll also know never to do that again or what to do for the next time, you know, the modifications, the changes that you need to make the next time you encounter that experience or that person. Number 13, life has transitionary points. Just because you feel like you're moving backwards or you're stagnant in life doesn't mean you are. Sometimes you have to take one step back to be able to take 3 steps forward. Number 14, actions speak louder than words. People can say all they want. They can promise you empty promises, give you false hope, tell you all these things to reassure you, but if their actions are not matching their words, something's not lining up and their intentions are different than what they're telling you. Whether they're acknowledging that or whether they're even aware of that is not your responsibility. That's not something you have to deal with. Their true intentions will always be in their actions. What is it that they do for you? What is it that they do to you? That speaks louder than words. Which kind of ties in with number 15. If they wanted to, they would. People will make the time and effort to see you or hang out with you, especially if they truly did care about you. They'll show up in ways that they can. They'll show up in ways that they're able to. But if it's excuse after excuse, that itself is an answer of where you are on their priority list. Number 16, there's a space between you and your thoughts. You and your thoughts are not one thing. Your thoughts are not who you are. It is not your identity. You can always speak to your thoughts rather than listen to them. You don't always have to listen to your thoughts. You can observe your thoughts without judging them as well. If you become the observer of your thoughts, it allows you to detach from them and unidentify with them, so you can see that your mind is literally its own thing and you're just there experiencing it. And journaling has helped me with that so much. Journaling, especially in the moment when I'm feeling a certain thing or thinking a certain thing, helps me see what's going on in my head on paper. And I'm just like, that's so interesting. Or like not even on paper. If I'm feeling or thinking something really heavy in the moment, I'll just pull out my phone and I'll start texting it on my notes app. And then I'll look at it and I'm just like, interesting. But because I transferred it onto my phone, it's out of my head and no longer within me. And I unidentify with it. In a sense, it allows you to see what's going on inside your head, outside of your head. Number 17, there is never anything wrong with asking for help. It's okay to have a support system to help carry the weight on your shoulders. There's even benefits to it. It can help increase the bond and connection that you have with that person. It also creates that sense of scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Asking for help also relieves that stress that you're feeling, especially if you're a type of person who gets in your head. Feeling that reassurance from other people helps so much because you realize that you're just in your head. It also reminds you that you're not alone. Number 18, the people that you attract or have in your life are manifestations or pieces of yourself. Some character trait that is within you is within them, and that's why you're drawn to them. Or maybe even don't like them. Number 19, as a fellow perfectionist, you don't always need to strive for perfection. There is perfection in doing things step by step, one at a time, little by little, brick by brick. Things don't need to be perfectly completed. The process and being on that journey of working towards something in itself is perfection. Number 20, be more in tune with your inner child. What things did you do as a child? What things did you like when you were a kid? What hobbies did you have? What things made you happy? Chances are those things have not changed. Those things are probably still within you and things that you are good at or like. Tapping into your inner child and doing the things that made younger you happy can still make older you happy. That goes further beyond just the skills or passions or things that make you happy. It's also when you're feeling down, when you're feeling stressed or anxious or sad. Inner child you, younger you, needs that reassurance. It needs that comfort. And don't be afraid to provide that to younger you. Number 21, your value and worth is way more than just how many followers, likes, subscribers, comments, friends, numbers that you see and have. It's always quality over quantity. 22, consistency is key. Not only does consistency get you closer and closer to your goals, but it shows the amount of self-respect and discipline that you have. It's a different form of self-love because you're striving for what you want every day. You're showing up for yourself every day. You're being there for yourself every day. And that's the type of relationship that you want to have with yourself, because no one else is going to be able to do that for you, especially if they can't do it for themselves. So how are you going to show up for somebody if you can't be there for yourself? 23 is kind of a continuation and a little repetition of number 2, one of the points that I said earlier, but it's to trust your body. Listen to your body, because it will tell you things. It will show you things. And it actually communicates with you in ways that we don't understand. Your intuition, your energy, the way you feel around certain people, your body's literally telling you, this person is not for you. This is not good for you. Abort mission, abort. And listening to your body can get you out of a lot of toxic situations. 24, your perception is everything. The situation itself is not the problem. The person is not the problem. The problem is not the problem. The way you view it, the way you interpret it, the way you feel about it is what creates the problem. So you either solve it and do something about it, or don't stress about it. Easier said than done. I know. But you can always view something in a negative light or a positive light. And the way you see it will affect how you see yourself. And the last one, 25, reward yourself. You spend so much time working so hard, being on the go, going to school, going to work, going to whatever it is, being in your head, stressing out, doing what you need to survive. And you're your own biggest critic. You're your number one hater, but also be your own number one lover. Give yourself love. Give yourself a rest day. Give yourself a spa day. Buy yourself something nice, because you deserve it. And life is not that serious.